To celebrate Cook Islands Language Week, we're going to paint a portrait of a local Cook Islander, Evotia-Rose Araiti. Evotia-Rose is someone who I see as being confident in her own Cook Islandsness. Evotia-Rose left Aotearoa as a child when her father took a job in Raro Dog. Moving to the Cook Islands provided her with a chance to connect with her father's culture.
This was my first dance costume. It has hugely significant meaning for me because a huge part of my Cook Island identity and how I began to learn about what being a Cook Islander means for me comes from learning to dance and ura. And so this was made for me when I was about 10. When I think back to that time and this costume and the person that made it for me, that for me was where I really began to connect to my Cook Islands roots through dance, the language, being a part of the dance troupe, the community there.
While living in Rarotonga, Evotia-Rose was able to learn ura, Cook Islands dance, but she wasn't yet able to learn the language fluently.
For me personally, I've had a lot of conversations and people say if you don't know the language, you become a lessness. If you don't know the language, then you're not really a insert, whatever. I personally don't feel that. Even though I don't speak Cook Islands Māori, I feel a deep sadness that I don't. And I feel a sense of hurt that I don't.
For Evotia-Rose, the process of colonisation has a lot to answer for, still.
I thought colonisation was something that happened ages ago, and I didn't like it, and I didn't agree with it, and I felt hurt about it, but it didn't feel like it's something that had affected me. When I realised that the reason why I don't speak Cook Islands Māori is because intentionally throughout generations, family members had decided for a better future, it was better for you to speak English. When I realised that, that's the reason why I don't speak Cook Islands Māori, it was a bit of grief, if I'm honest, around that. But I don't feel less of a Cook Islander because I don't speak. I still feel in myself, for my own personal identity, I feel like a Cook Islander. I feel a tie to the land, I feel a tie to to ura, I feel a tie to my father, to my dad's family, to how I live my life.
Being Cook Islands Māori has meant that she has had to confront and then overcome the inadequacies that plague all people of colour in a westernised modern society.
It's often the conversations that I have with other Cook Islanders in a similar context to me that help bring about a peace and a groundedness of oh nah, I am Cook Island. Not in a comparison sense, but oh, you understand what it's like to live in New Zealand, to be multi-ethnic, to have to navigate all those spaces and then figure out who you are as a Cook Islander. You've got to find who you are and be okay with that, because people are always going to have their own opinion on what they think you should be, regardless of what ethnicity you are. And in the moments when I don't feel it, sit with that, accept that. Oh, I'm feeling a bit vulnerable around this. I'm feeling a bit not enoughness. Sitting with that, accepting that discomfort, and then, but not internalising that as a truth of mine.
And so finally, why should we take someone's portrait? A portrait may seem like a simple thing, a superficial representation of someone. But a portrait can be so much more than that. It can be an opportunity to capture the essence of someone, a glimpse into who they are and where they're from. It can be a chance to capture something that's not being said. Mei taki, and happy Cook Islands Language Week.